Soundstripe. Welcome back to South End supporters, the St. Louis City SC podcast. Eric Cole alongside the Monday morning center back Dave Wyckoff. And on this one, we're going to be playing a little bit of catch up as we were off last week. So we'll be kind of doing an overall coverage of the past three games. We had San Jose, then we had the Open Cup game win, actually, against Chicago, a rare thing that we're feeling like we're saying this year. And then, of course, we saw City drop points once again to Austin on the road on the weekend. We'll kind of give a broad overview of our thoughts on the games and what we've been noticing with City on that, and then we'll finish out the episode with some submissions as usual. But before we get into all that, how we doing this evening, Mr. Monday Morning Center Back?
I'm thawing out because of that cold, crappy rain that we just had to sit through. But yeah, man, it's a nice day.
Yeah,
it's a nice day.
Like, the damn Midwest, man. It's like, don't turn the air on because like in a couple days it's going to drop back. But then there's certain days that are hitting you just like, oh my God, if I'm not sitting directly under the fan, I'm cooking. Because I don't know about you, but I run super hot anyway. So like once it gets above a certain temperature, I'm like, we got to have some sort of fan. But then it's also like, then you have days like, well, really the rest of this week I think is supposed to be pretty cool. And then you have rain. We didn't have rain forever. Hopefully everybody was okay with I think it was last week where we had the whole tornado stuff and a couple touchdown bad weather, all that sorts of stuff. So hopefully everybody in the area made it out of that. But yeah, just up and down, never know what you're going to get, expecting some things but not getting others. It's almost,
are you talking about the weather?
I was going to say, it's almost as if the city has really bought into this Midwest project that they going on, because What are we doing, Dave? You get all excited. You think, hey, we've come back. We pull goals. We're up 2-1 on the best team you could argue in the league at the moment, and then just let it squander away at home. Just feeling the air fleeting out of that place when it really picked up. Being there, we were both at that game that night. And you just are like, you know what, it's typical City, and it's also the best team, but we showed that, hey, we can go out there against the best team in the league and compete. Then you have a comeback win on the road in Chicago in the Open Cup, and you're feeling great, and then you just go to Austin and just lay a complete stanker. And you're still – it's frustrating, I think, on a lot of it, but where it's feeling like we just keep cycling through these coaches, but yet we keep seeing this like deja vu of where what seems to be killing us or what seems to be not working, we continue to just rinse and repeat each game, and you're seeing the same sort of results and nothing's really being changed. And you maybe see some positive things and you're like, all right, cool, let's keep running with that, and then we just don't continue to run on that. So it's just kind of this like, well, at what point do we get to where we just start running what's working and what's not and all that type of stuff? You're still looking at late subs, especially in that San Jose game. You're just kind of wondering, you see Edu, you see Mackay coming into the game in Chicago, late subs, but how or earlier subs finally, and how drastic a difference that makes. And then you're thinking, okay, he tries a little bit earlier subs, but then with Austin, but then he starts making some subs where you're like, well, why are you pulling that sub now? Why are you pulling this sub? Like, at what point are we just going to outright go for it? I guess I keep wondering. Like, it feels like he'll make a sub, Deme will make a sub, and you're like, all right, that's a positive, but he'll pair it with one where you're like, well, what are we bringing them in for? And it kind of like, are we going for it or are we not? Are we just like kind of holding this balance here? It's a lot that's been going on, but what's some of the things that you've really been noticing out of City, out of Deme, out of everything these past couple weeks?
Yeah, and don't forget the 4-0 win over Tulsa, which was before the San Jose game, right? That was the Thursday before the San Jose. So peaks and valleys, very appropriate. You're right. The San Jose game, that was as deflated as I think that I've been at one of the games, because they played so well even before the comeback. Like, when you hit the crossbar twice, and San Jose's keeper made a couple outstanding stops in the first half, and you really felt that they had momentum to go into the second half and do what they did. And then one just really poor really rash challenge by Wallum where he didn't need to make, and then all of a sudden you got your penalty, and then again forgetting about a guy on the back post. It's just more of the same. Like the mental letdowns just kill this team, and I don't know what to think of that. I think that this isn't a talented enough team to continue to drop behind. I think behind the goal. Like I think they said that this year 9 times they've fallen behind in games. I think they said that on the broadcast. And this isn't a team that's built to chase a game. I mean, they're built to possess and try to play good hard defense, and you see how much it opens up when they go down a goal. I mean, the shape just completely goes in the toilet once they have to open up, and that makes for an exciting game. But everybody else is better at finishing than we are. So what it ends up being is, City gets a chance and then they're out of position, and then all of a sudden you're down 2-0, and to an Austin team that's not a bad team, but I don't think that they're a dominant team. I don't know. I'm very, very just starting to get apathetic towards this team, and I really that's terrible. You want to feel something, but I really don't feel anything towards this team right now, unfortunately.
Yeah, it seems to be a popular take there, kind of all around the fandom at the moment. Yeah, San Jose. You're right with the first half, especially. You're sitting there going like, man, we're doing all right. This is looking good. Shutting down a lot of the things, like you said, hitting the post a couple times, and you're just kind of feeling like you're feeling unlucky rather than like, hey, we're lucky to be here. You're almost feeling unlucky that we're not up by more. And then, like you said, a little mistake in the box and it changes trajectory. And then, Timo Werner, something he couldn't seem to do for you guys at Chelsea for all those years.
Don't get me
really
started.
Finished on the back post, and it was just like that to me was where you really felt everything out of that stadium that night just leave the room. It was just, that was where everybody was like, kind of that feeling of like, yep, this is what we do. Like that's what it felt like around especially in the sections around us. It was like, yep, this is what we do, and there it goes. Kind of feeling. And then you bounce back. You go into Chicago and you play a good, hard-fought game, and then especially the comeback. You definitely didn't feel like we were the better team in that first half. You really felt like Chicago let that game go, where they should have been up by a couple after that first half. Surprisingly, DeMay makes a few earlier changes. I think it was in the 50th something minute. He brings on Edu and he brings in Mackay. Really changes the trajectory. As far as just that's where you feel like you're going for it. Those are two offensive-minded. Hey, we can't let them hang around anymore, because if they get one, then we're really stuck. We have to be the ones who finally is pushing that offensive, and I liked finally seeing that. And look what comes out of it. A lot of exciting football, but as well we get the result. And then you go to, Austin, just real flat. I'm curious also to get your take. It seems like, before I get into more of the Austin game, he's been using Leuven since he's came back in more that right attacking midfielder position. Do you see that as maybe DeMay sees that as a better position for him, or the way I was almost looking at it, because there's still nothing going through the middle of the field. You brought in Perez for the central midfield for Austin getting the start. Not that I thought he was necessarily bad, but it wasn't anything that, was a change that I was like, that's a change we needed right there. But there's still nothing going through the center of the park. Everything is just down the wings, which is also surprising considering we're not great on crosses here lately. And no offense to Betch, he's not an aerial threat. And he's not a pacey guy to where you get the wing and then you free him in. Where Betch works best is in those tighter spaces going straight through the middle. So I was shocked to see Edu get the start, but not being in the center of the park. Do you think DeMay is looking at him as he's better out wide, those two just free-roaming 10s, and, giving them the space where him and Hartle can kind of interchange up wide, and that's where he sees Edu's future? Or do you look at it as, since he did get an early sub, he looks at it as, hey, we're getting Edu on the field. It's going to be less running than if we asked him to run in that midfield. He can kind of stay high and keep that fitness, maybe keep him on the field a little longer. He's in the offensive and attacking. What do you think? Do you like Edu playing outside up in that higher role? what are you noticing as far as the return of Leuven back to the pitch?
Yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about maybe they played him up there so he didn't have as much defensive responsibility. That could have been it. But that would be giving DeMay a lot of like forward thinking credit, and I don't think he's done anything to deserve any sort of that credit so far. I thought that the opportunity to put him back in that midfield role next to Durkin was there without Edelman, so it was really interesting that he didn't drop him there, and then play a Sangbin or a Mackay up there as part of that front three. I think that gives you a more creative option with when you drop Louvre to play next to a Durkin or an Edelman. So yeah, it kind of doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. His best attribute is his distribution, and if he's not, sitting deep in the middle and pinging those balls out to the wings or trying to break lines through the center, like I don't know, like he's a good player there. He's not below average. I would never say that was his best spot. Him to me, one of those spots is more of somebody that you're looking to. Okay, this is like a target player that we're looking to set up to score goals. And I've never thought of him as a pure goal scorer, and he can finish, obviously. No, I don't know. Listen, asking me to try to figure out what this coach is thinking, you may as well be asking me how to explain quantum physics to you. Like, I have no clue. I have less than no clue. I can't justify any decision with any sort of rational explanation so far. It's just, I got nothing. You feel so lost right now in fandom to me. That's the hardest part is like, I want to watch every game. I want to be in every game, but like, lineup comes out an hour before. Conrad Wallum's still in the game. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, Timo Baumgartl still playing center back, and just more of the same.
Yeah. My problem that I had with Edu being that high, and it was the same with Hartle, is sometimes there's times where they, if we're struggling holding possession, or we're struggling getting out of our end, or we're just struggling with anything, that connecting pass between the midfield and then getting it up high, is those two can go missing. And when you have two of your best players on the pitch go missing, that's a real problem. And then what I was seeing a little bit in the game in Austin is for them to try and find and get on the ball, they kind of kept that free-ranging role, but then there were at times where they would both be drifting centrally to try and find themselves on the ball, or they both be checking back to that middle of the park position to try and get on the ball, which meant then you had this small triangle of Betcher, Leuven, and Hartle all in one space. You had nothing out wide. We were just compacting we were almost like an accordion. We were compacting ourselves in and then spreading too far out wide, and it was just like there was no real rhyme or reason. And that's why I just have always thought that you want to have that sort of just connecting line where you get some of these better distributing center backs that can get the ball into Leuven. He's partnered up with a workhorse, and we have two workhorses pretty much in Durkin and Edelman. And you just let them kind of run and try and handle a little bit more of the space that he's not covering in, because his job is just to check back, get the ball, and then, like you said, look to distribute. Find that Sangbin or find that Joyner, and especially Joyner coming off that Chicago performance. It's like, what does this kid have to do to maybe get a start from the beginning? And so I'm looking at this lineup and I'm thinking, okay, you could have thrown Joyner in there, Hartle in there, both dangerous, cutting in on their preferred foot. Whether Joyner is his preferred foot, left or right, that's the thing, is he's very disposable on either side. So you could allow them that freedom to kind of check back in. They would more so look to link up rather than just distributing crosses, where then again you get Betcher back in his sort of better role. And then, like I said, in that we'll go on that Austin game, it really just felt like where this team is at, you don't want to just keep pointing to this point because everybody's kind of pointing to that point, that breakaway. And it's just kind of like that sums up kind of what is really going on. Is you get these guys when they're finally in a position where we're behind and they can just play a little bit, not thinking in their head, free. But then you have these moments where it's like, hey, we can really take a hold of this game. The pressure goes on. Hartle's kind of caught in between the two things he needs to do. Does he shoot? Does he lay it off? Does he shoot? Finally decides to lay it off. Leads him a little bit too far, you say, but, at that level, you still got to turn your hips and finish that in the back of the net to an open net. And then you're just looking at some of the other decisions, on the one goal that they have, we're on a set piece. Stuver collects the ball, and Stuver he made a couple great saves on the night. I'm not trying to take anything away from his performance as well, which held City back. But on that goal, he collects the ball, and Mbakufal, who gets into the game and shows some minutes, get back. What are you doing jumping in front of the keeper and then doing all that? Just get back as a center back. Like, we need numbers. And if anybody has shown who needs numbers to defend against a counterattack, it is this City team. So it's like you're confused on some of the decisions that are going on the coaching staff. You're just confused on some of the decisions that are going on the field within the players. It's like they're getting in their own head right now as far as what's the baseball term? It's almost like we've got the yips as far as like just getting such in our head on the field of, do I make this pass? Do I shoot it? Is this the right time to shoot? And then a wild shot, you see heads going back down again instead of, people being like, yeah, keep that shot. It's there. Just keep on it. It's, just a lot of kind of worry and concern going around on the team again. And you're just, like you said, you're doing this kind of rinse and repeat of, I think this year so far has shown me a lot of, which was my nervousness when DeMay was hired, is how is this coach going to be able to handle the tough in-game decisions and tactically and what needs to be changed at the right time and that type of stuff. And I think as far as DeMay goes, a lot of that inexperience is kind of starting to show through a little bit.
But let's not absolve the players from the majority of the responsibility here, because this is yet another coach, another system where, this isn't working here, that isn't working here. Why are you making these subs? Why are you making, like, at some point, the players have to be held 100% accountable for this. I mean, this is the same essential group of players that's been here, almost the entire time, other, save like a João Klaus, but like, this is the same group. And there's still no one that has either the fortitude or the talent to step up and put this team on their back and carry them to some sort of success. Now, Leuven might be able to do that when he gets back full time, but other than that, I don't see anybody that has decided that I'm going to take the reins here now. It's a long season. Maybe we see that, but I'm not encouraged by really anybody's performance. I think that some of the more talented players are trying to do too much to the detriment of the team because they are pressing. There might be a little bit of that yip factor there, but at some point you just got to figure it out. I mean, maybe we just play U.S. Open Cup games from now on. We don't play MLS games. That might be I don't know. I do not have the answer. It's not more of the same, that's for sure. So change something.
Yeah, I think, like you said, you're dealing with a lot of the same players and same results. I think we always knew it was going to be tough, just from a standpoint of you release your leading goal scorer and you don't have any sort of replacement. And then you kind of do, which to me is looking more and more like a panic buy. I don't think you should ever, outside of injury or getting back to fitness, have a DP level player that you're bringing off the bench consistently. I think Cordova started 1, maybe 2 games. That's not a DP slot player. And to me, it's looking more like a panic buy because they didn't have anything prepared for when they decided to release João Klaus. So, of all things, which is so ironic that we haven't heard it from our buddy Dave Spursy, of all years, this is where his catchphrase really truly shines of, we need a true goal scorer. Maybe he's stuck, or maybe he's staying around because the 2 teams that we happen to link him with are both battling relegation.
He's got bigger problems
to go right now. Yeah, that West Ham badge is really hanging heavy on him. But
yeah,
it's just like, we need that guy that is going to be, on your bad day, if he's hanging out up top, he can poach you one or get you a couple or, something like that. And I think this team's kind of really missing this at this moment. It's just a bigger concern, though. Also, Matt Baker, Flyover put out a tweet. I haven't really been on socials as much, but this one happened to point out. So in 2003, after 10 games, City had 22 points. In 2024, after 10 games, City had 13 points. In 2025, after 10 games, City had 10 points. And at the time, He said in 2026, City has 6 points after 9 games. So consistently since that year one, we have just trekked backwards, backwards, backwards. And really the only sort of like fix that this club has come to is we got to fire the coach. And we just can't keep doing that sort of mind frame. They highlighted this a little bit on the broadcast of like, you know, Austin has gone out and spent in the offseason and, you know, they made those changes. And you're looking at some of these teams now, like San Jose really turned around. They went out and spent on Werner. You know, some of these big clubs that are up towards the table, they have spent. Do you think with this continuing trajectory of going back and maybe the pressure that's coming around with the fandom and all that, is City maybe going to, in the upper office, maybe in the sport this summer window, really going to realize, you know, we got to spend? And the problem is, and this was the problem that I said, you know, before, love Berkey. He's kept us in so many games already this year throughout all the 4 years. But I think in this league and the way the pay scale is set up, you're going to struggle when you put a DP spot on a goalkeeper. I think you're much better off fielding 3 players with that DP spot that'll make more of an impact and getting yourself a good quality keeper that you could keep on. This is in no way, you know, saying anything towards Berkey or, you know, he should have whatever. It's just I think the facts that if you use a spot on a goalkeeper in this league and the way it's set up, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, I agree. To your question, I don't think that Corey Ray is going to be somebody that turns around and is going to ask for a bunch of money and to make a bunch of signings. Like, there will probably be supplemental moves. They'll have to make a decision on Cordoba, which that could be the quickest DP stint ever. You know, as of today, see you later. You know, thanks for the goal, I guess. But no, I don't see a big change in philosophy. Like, it's just not going to happen, and they're not going to fire DeMay. Well, they might, but I don't see it coming. Like, that'd be such an indictment on the new regime to have to fire the head coach in the first half of the first season. Like, yikes.
Yeah, I think it's a bad look from the club. Yeah, if they do.
Yeah,
that. And I'm not saying I think
the biggest problem
is the guy, but
the biggest problem with this team, like, you know, you say whatever about go out and spend a bunch of money. Like, I feel like that's kind of, you know, picking these random international DPs is you know, shooting. It's a crapshoot, right? Like, sometimes you're going to get it right, sometimes you're going to get it wrong. I think the bigger glaring issue with this team is like they don't have the supplemental, like, homegrowns and like just fill-in players that are just solid. You know what I mean? Like, these ancillary pieces on good teams. Like, forget about the superstars. Like, you know, you don't even have like your basic guys that fill in right now. Like, there's so many glaring holes at all these positions for the most part. I mean, yeah, I don't know. And we're not witnessing allowing some of these signings to get real time yet. Like, that, I think that Sunday was the first time both the Falls have been on the pitch at the same time this year, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. After 11 games, that's the first time we've seen them both on the field at the same time. Right. Yeah, it's just weird. And then do we know what happened to Edelman? Did they ever deserve a report?
You know, like I said, I haven't been on as much on the socials, but no, I don't know.
So. I never did see anything, and maybe it's just load management.
Right.
His motor was obviously missed. Like, you know, for all that everybody likes Miggy Perez, he just hasn't really taken that step forward to reliable MLS midfielder yet.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. Everybody, strap in.
No, I think to your point, where the glaring issue of the supplemental roster spots that are lacking, it shows because, like I said in that Austin game, at times if you're having trouble finding Hartle or Leuven on the ball, guess who's handling the rest of the possession? Those supplemental players. And if they're behind, you know, these other teams as far as where that talent level is, as far as, you know, the backups or the roster or the people you use to help fill in that 11, that's where that shows to me that much more. And that's where you see the silly mistakes or the silly giveaways that just seem to keep coming back and costing us. And so, yeah, I think I think outside of the Open Cup, I think a lot until this World Cup break is just going to be, try and get something here or there. I don't know really what else you could really do as far as a drastic change that would really turn this team around before that World Cup, before the transfer window, and all that type of stuff. Like you said, I think it's just going to be a long ride the rest of this year. You're going to hope to see some positives. You maybe see new faces get their chance and take it and run with it and that type of stuff. Like Ostrak, we haven't seen Ostrak at all. I think he had a setback again, but like I said, Cordova is brought in. You barely see him. The Falls rarely making appearance. We can't even really make a full judgment on whether we like the Falls or not because we haven't seen them. Like it's hard to say. Like, is that an upgrade from what we see? It just seems like. And again, you're wondering, well, what's going on in the training window trainings that he puts so much emphasis on, that he's seeing, that he's not liking, that is keeping a lot of those players off the field because it's not looking much better on game day. You'd have to say.
And the players that are not getting the time, we've seen them be electric. That's the thing. The Sang Bens, the Makai Joiners, the Cedric Teutschers, like we've seen them play with an electric style, and instead we're being treated to, everybody loves Betch, but he's not exactly a scintillating player. And Thomas Totland is a right-footed player playing on the left-footed wing side, and Conrad Wallem has regressed. So it's baffling. It is baffling. You have so much creativity and so much just lightning on the bench, and all I can figure is just not putting in the full game. Those guys, not to the satisfaction of the coaching staff. That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah, it just seems like the game plan is try and hang around and then hope you can catch lightning with those people coming off the bench. But even the problem's really been is those people coming off the bench, it's been so late that how are they going to make an impact when you're coming in the 88th and the 86th and all these types of times? It's just like, it's good to see that he has at least made a couple of substitutions a little bit earlier, and a lot of times they have made bigger effect, and we've only seen that in 2 games. But yeah, it'd be nice to like try and catch that lightning early and then ride it out the rest of the game, rather than constantly feeling like we got to try and find ourselves back in this game type feeling. So they'll try and find some sort of lightning and try and get back in the game and all that type of stuff, as they will be going out to Colorado this Saturday. I believe it is an 8:30 kickoff time. Yes, 8:30 Saturday, May 9th. They will be taking on the Colorado Rapids. You gotta knock them off, because we can't have Kroenke riding high on 2 teams right now as Arsenal have made their way into the Champions League final. We gotta.
Well, the Nuggets got knocked out of the playoffs, so there's that. And I think the Avs might have gotten knocked out of the Stanley Cup playoffs too. I'll do some research.
What are they playing? The Wild right now, I think?
No, they're still in. Sorry, I'm an idiot. They're in round 2.
Great. This just turned into a Kroenke
good show
right now. We gotta get off of this. So, anything else on City that you want to add before we move on to submissions for the night?
No, just strap in, everybody. Because we thought it was bad last year.
I do want to say
looking much better.
Yeah, I do want to say this though. Strap in, but stay around. Remember, like, these are the years. I was actually talking with South End Stan. Shout out South End Stan today when I was dropping the kids off. These are the years that I want to look back on one day and be like, man, I can't believe we made it through those years. And now look at us. I hope those days come. But like, I relate it to like being a United fan. Obviously we've had a bunch of years, and not saying that we're back by any means, but we're getting there. And it just makes those years where you look back and you think, man, we came from 15th to this now, or who knows? This could be a wooden spoon year for all we know. But stick around, because it's going to be great. Look at Cincinnati those couple of years. They won this wooden spoon, 2 years in a row, and then they went on to be a real competitive type team. Like, earn your stripe, as you like to say. And I always liked when you said that, because it is true. Like, stick around. Don't just jump ship and completely forget about the team. You can have your feelings towards them on how you support, but always remember, like, that's your team, and do your best to make
the biggest pro argument, the biggest argument, positive argument for pro rel in American soccer is the fact that a team like City, a team like Kansas City, can sit in the cellar for 3 or 4 years and have no major financial consequences for being the bottom 2 or 3 teams, and their league share is going to be just as much as it is as everybody else. That's the biggest problem with the pro game right now, to me, is that there's no downside to them being awful, because it's not like draft picks in the MLS are valuable. So
Yeah, exactly.
there's no, it's just you suck.
Yeah,
That's the biggest downside.
yeah. Gareth Bale said it best when he came over. They were asking him, like, what they were doing an interview post years after he retired, saying like, what did you like, about, when you were your time in LA? And one of the things he says, he's like, it's way different because the fandom's so much different. Because if you lose, oh well, we'll try and get them next week kind of attitude. Whereas over there, it means a lot more. That there's a lot more urgency to making these changes, and we got to get back on track because it's literally millions of dollars worth of dropping
Hundreds of
down.
millions.
Yeah,
Hundreds of
it's so
millions.
much
Yeah,
emphasis on
nuts.
staying up. The way you see clubs in the championship level celebrate, you would have thought that they've won everything, and
Oh
yet
my
it's just
gosh, when
they could have a
Ipswich, yeah,
sixth place team who just got promoted, and you see what it means to their fans, and vice versa. You see what happens to those teams that get relegated. I mean, it's like you thought that they were told that they'll never be able to play again. Like
yeah,
it means something, and I agree. I do wish, maybe not this year, but I do wish some years that there was that, a little bit of that around, because I think it also keeps the league exciting as well. Because look at the Premier League this year. Right now, it's just as exciting. Looks like City might have bottled it, but it's just as exciting, the title race and the European spots, as I mean, the fact that Tottenham or West Ham, two of the biggest clubs in England, could be relegated this year. You're almost watching those games more than some of the higher up games. It's like it gives you that excitement all the year. It gives teams something to play for every year, or all the way through. Like, especially if they're out of the playoffs, some of those teams could just, who cares? But like, give it to something to mean something. Yeah, I don't want it right now, just because we need to get our stuff figured out, and then you can bring it around. But it would make the league a lot.
well, get the schedule aligned first, and then we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. Well, plus we seem to be doing well against those USL teams. So the more we can bring those guys up, we'll be all right. Maybe that'll be the ticket where we turn the stuff around.
I think the only problem there is the USL doesn't have the near the fan interest that the championship has. I mean, the championship is the second most popular league in the world, only behind the Premier League, and the second richest league in the world, only behind the Premier League. So that's pretty wild. That's still a wild stat that one country has the two richest soccer leagues. It's just it's cool, very cool.
Oh, I know. When JB hit us with that stat from the Soccer Dad pod, shout out those guys. But that, I mean, I was like, it makes sense, but it's still blowing you away considering the money that is in some of those other leagues. But yet, yeah, it made total sense. And you're right, that would be a big deal to some of those USL clubs that are like, maybe playing at like colleges and stuff like that. All of a sudden being like, we have to host Messi next week? What do you mean? We have 2,000 people to see.
He wouldn't show up.
That's very true. We'll move on to some South End submissions before we get out of here tonight. We'll kick it off with our man Alan Anani from Instagram. He said, "What are we even doing? Perfect breakaway. Then a handball by Bureau. Capital LOL. What are we even doing?" I mean, I apologize for dropping that on you earlier of just trying to get into the mind of Johan de Meij so far this year. Like you said, you were like, I can't even begin to fathom where anything's at, so I shouldn't have dropped it. But that's kind of I mean, what we've been doing each week is just kind of like, what are we even doing? Especially this one was tough because we had 3 games to cover where it's like, hey, there's a bright spot. Maybe we know what we're doing. Oh, no. Nope, there's a reminder. We still don't know. What are we doing?
Yeah, we don't know. We just don't know. At least that was against an MLS team. That wasn't against a USL side, so there's an upside to that one.
Imagine the panic if we got knocked out of the Open Cup from a USL team. I mean, the fandom's already kind of like up in arms as it is. But can you imagine the sirens that would have been ringing at that point. Jeez.
Yeah, it would have been fun. It would have been fun to have been online.
No. Next, we'll go to our buddy Andy Sharoni, or My Sharoni. He said, frustrating that we have the only team that can't score on a 2-on-none. A lot of people really focused on that breakaway.
Clearly, he's never watched us play on Thursday night if he thinks that's the only team that can't score on a 2-on-0.
Yeah. Maybe it's maybe it's a St. Louis thing. Maybe every other state's got it figured out. Like, that's what they're teaching the kids first and foremost is breakaways.
There's how to score 2-on-0 breakaways. Yeah, that'd be a good skill set. Maybe to get a shot on goal even. Maybe we should start with that.
Could you imagine if, like, with the way we are on breakaways, if we had the old MLS shootout rule way where they used to do a breakaway from, like, half field?
Dude. That was the best. Bring that back.
Lord.
Bring that back immediately.
Bring it back and let like keepers get like a certain amount of like allowed physicality. Like, you try and do a crossover, like you're allowed a good foot out as long as it's not over the line.
The XG on that chance, I think they said on the broadcast, was like a 0.9.
Yeah, they said it was higher than a PK.
Yeah.
That's what they said.
That's impressive.
PK is like 0.8, and they said that was like Yeah,
that's impressive. To not get a shot on target is like statistically almost impossible.
Maybe that's a problem. We've been saying all along, like, do something to impress me, do something to get me excited, and they were like, okay, here's,
we didn't specify like positive or negative.
We didn't like get more specific. Do something positively exciting.
Yeah,
really draw us in. Yeah. Maybe that's what we'll do. We'll go to that guy, Zach Gorski. He said, evening, gents. I'm looking for some recommendations on shows the whole fam can watch and enjoy together. P.S. It's Mother's Day this weekend. Yes, it is Mother's Day this weekend. So shout out to all the great moms that are out there, and especially all the South End supporter moms. You guys are amazing. Can't say it enough. All the mothers out there. So some shows the whole fam can watch and enjoy together. I think a lot of factors here. How old are the kids? Because that could play a big factor in enjoyment.
Yeah,
I know you also, like, for me, I've got to be a lot more cautious or like careful as far as like the fact that the kids are paying attention, enjoying. Because one day I thought my kids were playing, and then when I was watching Game of Thrones, and then I just happened to look over, and my oldest Delaney's just dead staring at the TV watching it. And it was like, of course, right when somebody got beheaded, and I was like, oh God. So I changed it, and then the next day it was just me and the kids at the house, and she's like, can we watch that night show? I was like, night show? And I'm thinking like late at night type thing. And then I was like, yeah, maybe not that one. I tell you a show that my kids, they keep asking me to watch it, and it kind of is real special because this is something I remember asking my dad if we can keep watching. Again, it depends on the age and all that type of stuff, but they keep wanting to watch the Three Stooges because I put it on one day thinking that they would think it's funny.
That's great.
My kid, she'll always go, can we watch the Three Boogers again? And I was like, the Three Boogers? And she can never get the Stooges right. It's always the Stoogers and this and that. And I'm like, oh, the Stooges. Yeah, I'll put that on for you guys. But do you guys have any, your kid's a little older than mine. Do you guys have any show that you guys all get in and watch together?
No, not really. I mean, there are some my son used to really like Tom and Jerry cartoons. Like, I introduced him to Tom and Jerry, and he really liked those.
Nice.
Yeah, they've got some weird little like cartoon stuff that's not like too mind numbing. You know what I mean? There's a couple, but yeah, no Game of Thrones, no House of the Dragon. Those are not family friendly, and we are a family friendly podcast. Maybe not last episode, but this episode definitely.
Yes.
Yeah. Eric informed me that we got hit with an explicit rating tag for the last episode, and I guess I had to go back and listen again. I honestly feel like that was one of the more tame ones.
Yeah, I didn't think it was bad at all. I went to go listen at it on a computer, and it said must sign in for this explicit episode of a show. I was like,
I wonder how that works. Like,
I wonder if it's like if it's like a movie rating where it's like once you hit a certain amount of words, then they count it as explicit,
But
whether
like,
through context or anything like
are
that. I
Apple
mean,
Podcasts like reviewing our words? Like, is the AI like
oh,
reviewing
I'm sure. I'm
all
sure
the
they just
dirty
look at the
words that we
words and
say?
then they go from there.
That'd have
Yeah.
to be it. And I think if that's the case, I think the AI probably made a mistake, which, shocker.
Maybe I think it was last episode we were using the word glizzy a lot. Maybe they were like they can't be. They were like they can't be just talking about hot dogs.
The
I thought
AI is just millennial and it hates that stupid word.
that's what it is. That's
Dude,
what's
okay,
getting
so
it.
and this is way off topic, but it is kind of South End Slavish. So, the Miami Grand Prix was Sunday. F1 was in Miami on Sunday. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know about this until after the race because I didn't watch any like the build up or anything. I only watched the race. But there was a $100 hot dog offered at this
I think I
race,
did see something like
like for the
this.
high
Yeah, yeah,
rollers. It was like it was made with like Australian Wagyu, caviar, some
yes, yes, I
some
did see
just
that.
some other obscene thing, and then like the edible gold flake, and it was like a hundred
Yeah,
dollars.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
talk about just like American just ridiculousness, like just
Yeah,
excessive, just capitalist nonsense. Like, it's so gross how like this is the way that we want to be seen by the world now. Like, really, that's what we want. We want $100 hot dogs at F1 races. Like, F1 is the most expensive, high dollar, like glamorous sport in the world. Like, they have flat
gosh,
out
yeah,
said that they want every race to be like, they basically want 24 Super Bowls is what they want. So all these races are these huge events, week long events, and they have celebrities and fashion and all this stuff. And Miami Grand Prix re-roll $100 hot dog. Like,
yep,
there we go. Yeah, that's going to compete
yep,
with Monaco. That's that Miami hot dog, Monza. Yeah, they're very equal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Gotta love
Anyway,
it.
that was way
I
off
do.
topic.
I do have a follow-up question for you on that type of topic, but it's going to tie in actually to a little Cadlet combat that we'll get into later. But I do have another off of the Cadlet combat question related to that I'm going to throw out your way. Um, but Gorski, as far as shows go, here's where I'm not a big. I'm trying to get into them a little bit more as I've gotten older, but I'm not as much of a show guy because I have ADD. I can't sit still, even if it's half hour shows I can kind of hit in. But like if I usually daytime, I'm usually trying to be out and about and doing stuff and moving, and then I'm a sports guy, so I will always just kind of try and look for a sport and that type of stuff, and then getting caught up. It's tough for me with the time that I have to try and focus on like I've been trying to watch those just because there's always this hype around it. I've been trying to watch the Dune movies, but they're 2 hours and 45 minutes, and it's just like I'm half hour here and then I click off, and then so as far as shows go, and then like I said, we're balancing like Bluey as far as like that's where I'm at with my whole family show just because my kids are like I said younger, so yeah, we'll try and find some stuff that maybe we can all watch, but and then Kristen watches just the worst television there is possible. That you want to talk about trash TV, and she knows that's how I feel too. Because there's all the time I'll look up and just go, "What are you watching?" She's like, "Oh, it's the mom wives of Mormon wives or whatever." I'm like, "What are we doing? What are we doing?"
The Secret Lives of
Secret
Mormon
Lives of Mormon
Wives.
Wives. Yeah, she
It's
loves that
catchy. It's a
show.
catchy. It's a
She
catchy
loves all.
title.
What I do think's funny is all those shows that she does watch has like a catchy intro song, and that's my daughter's favorite part. Is just when she watches like multiple episodes, my daughter starts to learn those songs and just perform her, so she gets all excited about the intro song. So maybe that's what you got to focus on for a while is just getting your kids excited about the intro song, and then you go from there.
Oh man, well then we're bringing back old school Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles then, because there's no better intro song in the history of television than that.
There we go. There we go. We'll find you some shows, Gorski. Don't you worry. Next, we'll go to our man KVK from the No Goal Patrol. He comes in with a good one. He's got a couple good ones here, actually. But he said, if you could undo a celebrity or sports figure's tarnished reputation and restore their legacy, who would it be? Our man Jay Clem came in and said, part of me wants to say McGuire and Sosa to restore the magic of that 98 homer race. Jerry said Tiger Woods, never OJ, never Pete Rose. Amy Murr said, not my top answer.
Never
but I was really...
Wait a minute. Time out. You can't say never OJ and never Pete Rose. One of these people, one of these things is not like the other.
Yeah, those are pretty wild differences on there. Yeah,
Pete Rose, like, he genuinely could have been like a bad person and he gambled on baseball or whatever. OJ murdered 2 people allegedly. Allegedly. Nah, he probably did it. But let's just go ahead and delineate, like, Pete Rose, bad person, OJ, murderer. Let's separate the two and move past it.
Yeah, I feel like the song "One of These Things," like the other, is popping in my head right now. It's just kind of going
OJ and Pete Rose.
Yeah. Amy Murr came in. She said, "Not my top answer, but I was really rooting for Britney." Yeah, she's kind of showing why that conservatorship was kind of.
Is hers really more about? But hers is more about mental illness. Like I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the choices, a lot of the ones that we'll consider and throw out there, it's not so much mental illness, it's just really bad behavior and bad decision making, poor lifestyle choices, right? Like,
yeah.
I think a lot of her issues are clearly driven by, if it's not just diagnosed mental illness, then surely, some sort of, psychosis, which I guess could be from substance abuse, but either way.
Yeah, and I also think there's something about, rarely do you see child stars come out and, live.
Give several examples why.
Of what? Child stars?
Several examples of child stars gone bad.
Yeah, we could go through it. Yeah, a lot of them aren't here anymore, unfortunately. Fedlord decided he doesn't care what Jerry said, because Fedlord Colton said, I'll go Pete Rose and get him into the Hall of Fame. Grace said, I'd go far. I don't care
about OJ.
Yeah, nobody's going to touch that one. I think there's a consensus nobody should touch that one.
Yes.
Grace said, I'd go far for Aaron Rodgers. Can you tell I'm from Wisconsin? I want to erase all their terrible choices that led to tarnish inside and outside of their football careers. Rant over. So
again, Brett Favre's decisions are like borderline criminal. Like, he stole from a charity.
A lot of money from a charity.
Yeah, and set lewd pictures to a reporter, right? Like, Brett Favre is a bad person. Aaron Rodgers as far as I can tell, is just a D-bag that's really full of himself. As far as I know, he hasn't had any borderline criminal conduct. I understand the sentiment, but let's make sure that we're talking about the same thing. I will throw out the other, and you're not gonna like this, and the rest of my Laker fans are not gonna like this, but I don't believe that Kobe Bryant should be eligible for this list, because Kobe's conduct that tarnished his reputation was criminal, borderline criminal. I don't think he should be eligible for this. But that's a big payoff for an innocent man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm not going down that road anymore. I'm just saying, I think we should delineate people that made bad decisions, that tarnished their reputation, not because of harming other people. I even say Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods is borderline. Should he even really even be part of this? I don't know. Yeah, I guess you can make it your own. Kobe is probably a good answer, right?
Yeah, but the thing is though, I guess some people still look at it, but I would say where I differentiate Kobe as far as this question is concerned is, I'd say majority of people don't bring that up, and it didn't tarnish his reputation. You know what I'm saying? He still went on and played a successful basketball career. it didn't hold him back the same way, like, you know, Pete Rose not being able to get into the Hall of Fame, Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame. The way people now talk about Sosa, they still talk about that home run race, but they're like, yeah, but then you get right away, yeah, but those guys were on steroid. Like, that's the first thing they kind of, whereas I don't think Kobe. I tell you one that popped up on the radio the other day that isn't, you know, like the Trevor Bauer situation. Like, he got accused.
That's a good one.
It was proven that he wasn't in it, but yet that dude still can't find himself. He came out and was like, I'll play for free in the MLB, and he went to Japan, like that type of stuff. Like, that could be. I'm trying to think of, like, my mind's just stuck on, like, the sports world, and I can't think of, like, many that, like, would deserve, I guess you could say, that, you know, sort of like turn around, because a lot of them that had something happen that tarnished their reputation, like you said, you're like, yeah, that guy doesn't deserve to have a do-over or re-up.
I mean, that's the reality.
Now I'm
is
trying to shift to, like, celebrity, but it's
the
like,
reality is that most of the decisions that were made were very harmful, you know, and the consequences affected more than just them, which is why why their reputation was destroyed or tarnished in the first place, right? Like, you'd be hard pressed to find somebody that was like, man, like, yeah, they were really like, their decisions they made were just only affected them. It's like, no, like, these people all had families and lives and you know, victims. So I think that the steroid era baseball players are probably a really good example, just because, like, yes, their conduct was technically criminal, but more or less they just, like, cheated the game. Pete Rose is a good one, right?
But I also think those guys were just the ones that got caught with. I think it's one of those deals where it's like, yeah, everybody was.
And I think when you're ahead of the game. I think when your conduct is within the sport, I think it's a lot easier for time to kind of wash away the weight of what you did. You know what I mean? Like, the steroid era is almost 30 years behind us now, right? Like, I mean, 20-ish, 20, 25, 30. I mean, now they're talking about trying to get these guys backdoored into the Hall of Fame because, everybody was on it. Well, that argument never would have held water, you know, in the early 2000s. Right. It was like, these guys were wrong and they don't belong in the Hall of Fame, and that's the end of it. Well, you know, time has a way of, like, kind of easing these things. I think a good one is Prince. You know what I mean? The way that Prince went out, how he died, you know, he was, like, addicted to painkillers, like that, you know, kind of is like, wow, like, you know, and his conduct wasn't really, like, criminal, you know. Yeah. Somebody like that, probably. I would say, like, the more that we know about Michael Jackson, maybe his is one, although that one's still kind of a weird gray area, right? It's tough, man. Like, people, you make your choices and you live with the consequences. And I think that that's, you know.
I think outside of sport and, like, you know, cheating, it's tough to, like, justify somebody else who's done something being, like, you know, defend that time. I think almost a better question, and I forget if we've done this on the show or not, is, like, whose career would you give a do-over in relation to, like, they never had injuries or, like, that type of stuff, to where, you know, you look at, like, Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose could have been one of the best basketball players, you know, ever. Just with that talent that he had, just injuries. Or you look at, like, they really hyped up, like, Greg Oden and that type of stuff. You look at, like, I mean, so many examples of just these super talented players that unfortunately just couldn't, you know, stay healthy. And when they were on the field, they were electrifying, and you saw that talent was there. But the times that they were off the field, just, you know, could never really. I think that's an easier one to, like, try and, I guess, justify or something like that.
Still not OJ.
Well, and speaking of OJ, Jerry, you know, we'll go back to Jerry because she had one of her own. She said, yeah, but still not OJ. I'm glad she clarified that, though. She did say not OJ. Like, she was like, no, I don't even bring that around because
still not OJ.
Still not OJ. But she said, what is the best thing you'll do while the MLS is shutting down for the World Cup? Me mostly laying low to reorganize the home front, watching World Cup matches while giving no money to FIFA. But the Forest Park Rangers road trip to Lansing is a thing. #shotgun dibs.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you this much.
We
nobody
haven't
better
talked
mess with
about this yet,
Jerry on
have we?
shotgun because she called dibs already. So
We haven't talked about
anybody
the
tries to
Forest Park. We haven't talked about the Forest Park Rangers yet, have we?
what
I
is
mean,
that?
so the Forest Park Rangers is a grassroots, fan-owned, semi-professional soccer club that the Zombie is a big founding member of. I'm not sure if
Really?
Jerry is. I know Matt Baker has a big role in them. So yeah, you gotta look up. There's a bunch of Instagram info about it. They are a full-on club. I don't know what. I think they might be playing in the same like league as ATAR is. I could be wrong
Okay.
about that, but yeah, this is something that started. I want to say it started like 6 months ago because I remember seeing stuff about informational Zoom calls and yeah, it was got generated enough interest to actually put a team together. So yeah,
That is
that's pretty cool
very
that they're doing a road trip.
yeah. I will definitely be checking in on that because that is
Yes,
very exciting.
support
So
local footy.
yes, please do. But outside of now taking that on during this World Cup break, what will I be doing? Probably complaining about how the U.S. is playing in the World Cup. Doing that. We do have a family trip planned to Florida that we do about every other year with DH and his family, as well as South End Stan and my family. So we'll be doing that, which I'm kind of looking for. I'm really looking forward to, just for the break and just for the trip that we always have a good time doing it. But I also love that there's one spot. The World Cup's going to be going on while we're down there, and I like finding like spots where I feel like it's going to be a good gathering. And there's this one spot down there that's called like the Hub or the Big Chill that's had a couple names, but I really hope they host like a movie night every like a couple nights a week, but they have this huge big screen and a lot of area spaced where you could have a good gathering. I hope that if the U.S. is playing while we're down there, they put that up on the big screen and a bunch of people can get down there. Because I always say this, like, when you're like, I always say like Boxing Day, when you go out there, you're always looking for like your club and you're trying to find your little group of people that you can cheer and watch. The thing I love about international play is majority of the time, at least around here, when you go out, we're all on the same thing. And I remember one year we went to Ballpark Village for that Belgium game, and that place was rocking. Goals scored, beers being thrown. Like, I love that atmosphere. So I'm hoping we can do that type of stuff. But yeah, not too much. You know how it is with kids. You can't really plan too much for yourself. You kind of just got to be
You
ready to go
just
with
get
anything.
there and then go with the flow.
Exactly. I do know that Delaney will be back in doing some soccer camps and stuff, so I'm really excited to that.
Nice.
Lakeland's just started up gymnastics, so kid
Nastics.
stuff. But
Yes,
yeah,
Nastics.
nastics. We don't call it gymnastics. We say nastics because we get nasty. But yeah, you though, on the other hand, will be a lot more excited. During
Yes,
that World Cup break
giving
because
all of my money to FIFA, Jerry.
she went
Apologies.
the opposite. She
Yes, we
went the
went the
opposite route.
opposite way. So yeah, two games, Argentina and Algeria, and then Tunisia and Netherlands the week after that. So it's gonna
So cool.
be it's gonna be an experience. Hopefully, find some fan fest stuff also in Kansas City. I haven't really
Yeah,
done
yeah,
any
yeah.
research on when and the where for that stuff. But yeah, it's summer of soccer. Let's do it. I thought last summer
Yeah,
was the summer of soccer with the Club World Cup. That was fun too.
that was fun too. Yeah, yeah. I think one thing. I mean, we haven't really talked about it much, but we'll definitely try and keep the show going throughout those months and try and cover the World Cup, cover some. Maybe we have to bring back rather than red versus blue. We have a little red, white, and blue. South
Ooh,
End
I
Supporters
like that.
presents,
But do we
and we
have
go.
to? Do we have to talk about the U.S. team? Like,
I
can
mean,
we
it
talk
might.
about everybody else?
We'll talk majority about the World Cup in general, and then
Okay,
kind of like this show. Each week we look forward to the submissions, but we do have to cover
that's
Kansas
true.
City.
Yeah.
Well, it's like we cover the World Cup, but we do have to talk
God,
about the
that really
U.S.
puts it into perspective.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, maybe we'll bring that back a little bit. Maybe since we'll be gone, we'll each be doing one remote. Maybe I'll do one from the beach, and you'll do one from Kansas City. That'd
Oh,
be
that'd be
fun to
awesome.
hear. That'd be
Yes,
fun as
that'd be
well.
awesome.
So yeah, we'll keep it. We'll keep it. That might be the most fun shows
Yeah,
we have throughout the
yeah,
year. The way things are going, you never
yep.
know. So
You're probably
we'll
right.
see. Yep, yep, yep. And then let us know what you guys plan on doing during the World Cup, because I want to hear some good ideas coming our way. And then we'll finish out tonight with our man Ryan Cadlick, like we said, with Cadlick's Combat. He said, you guys mentioned concession stands last episode. This week's battle is a concession stands item. Picture descriptions and seating of said items will be in the comments of my post. So he has some like different concession items from kind of all different sorts of areas throughout different sports and different sporting venues. So we'll run through this, and then just so I don't forget, I also want you kind of thinking in your mind, what is some hyped up, because you were talking about the Grand Prix and stuff like that, what is some hyped up food item throughout any sort of like, spectacular event that they have just at that event that you've always been so intrigued about just because of said hype? So we'll finish on that one, but we'll get into his thing. So the first one he has at the 1 seed is the Renegade dog at PNC Park. It starts out as a foot-long hot dog with the frank stretching out past both sides of the bun onto a sausage and bun. Concession workers then toss on heaping gobs of moist and shredded beef pot roast, along with a bunch of pickle slices and plenty of caramelized onions. And then comes to the star of the show, potato-filled miniature pierogies.
Oh, my God.
That's the 1 seed.
So that's what I want to know about, right? That shut the show down. That's the winner. That's the hype. That Oh my gosh. How does it get it better?
This picture on here definitely looks good.
Oh my
and I feel bad for this Uncrustable at the 8 seed. The Uncrustable Crunch at Arrowhead Stadium is going up against that. So this staff food service workers start with a strawberry jelly and peanut butter jelly filled Uncrustable, and then top it with a handful of fried breaded and boneless chicken nuggets. As if those two freezer staples merged together weren't enough, the whole treat gets a bit of nuanced nutrition in the form of sour apple straws. It apparently made all better when drizzled with hot honey. Question here, I would love to know if, I doubt it, but did Cadlick write these descriptions, or is this a copy and paste description?
Yeah, I don't know.
These descriptions, that's awesome.
That's talented.
But either way, so I feel like, while that does sound great, I feel like right away when you're going up something like that Renegade dog, that's a tough thing to take on there.
I thought that you would be swayed because of your sweet tooth, but the problem with all of those things is they don't really go together.
Yeah, I don't know where the chicken nuggets come into play. And
the Uncrustable with the hot honey is intriguing though. Like throw out the straws. Like that's intriguing to me though. I don't know. I think I still go Renegade dog, but I would like to revisit the idea of an Uncrustable drizzled in hot honey.
Well, I can tell you this much. Unfortunately, our freezer went out during our fridge went out during our little week off there. So unfortunately, I think we got rid of like the Uncrustables that at that time, so we didn't have any left. Because if we had a couple up there, I have a jar of hot honey, and I would let you know. But I think it's
I think that
I'd have to throw that in there. But I tell you what, I think they're onto something just with the hot honey and the Uncrustable.
Ditch the sour apple straws and the nuggets. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the sweet tooth, at the 2 position, we have cotton candy burrito from State Farm Stadium. The exterior is made out of half-thick layer of blue cotton candy, which conceals a second inner layer of pink cotton candy. Inside the cotton candy is a glimmering collection of 2 kinds of sugary kids' cereals, Fruit Loops and Fruity Pebbles, alongside miniature marshmallows, gummy bears, Skittles, mini M&Ms, rainbow sprinkles. To bring it all back to cotton candy, the innards of the cotton candy burrito involve a bit of cotton candy flavored ice cream.
I just went to the dentist. I just went to the dentist yesterday, and I feel bad about myself.
I feel like how dentists, like if you go in there, they can like tell just from looking. They're like, you grind your teeth when you sleep. Or you're like if you went in there, they'd be like, "Have you had a cotton candy burrito from State Farm Stadium in the past couple weeks?"
Well, how can you tell? Well, you don't have any teeth left,
and your tongue is still blue, like it perma stain blue for a couple weeks. So that one is going to be taking on the Waffle Fry Battle Boat at Highmark Stadium. So the Waffle Fry Battle Boat is a 2-foot long tray, or really cardboard trough, of crammed with freshly made and simply seasoned waffle cut French fries. Then the vendor turns those French fries into nacho fries, topping them with locally flavored ingredients such as chopped kielbasa pieces, cabbage, bacon, onions, mustard, and horseradish.
God, yeah. I'm sorry. That takes it. That has to take it.
Man, it lost
The
me with
cotton candy
horseradish. I'm not a big
burrito.
horseradish guy.
The cotton candy burrito is so absurd.
Well,
Like,
it's
I feel like that would make you sick.
yeah. The problem with the cotton candy burrito is I feel like you could only have a couple bites, and the other
Yeah.
problem I have in there is the combination of mini M&Ms and Skittles, possibly all being in one bite.
So don't knock like the chocolate and chewy. If you've ever had a chocolate covered gummy bear before, you ever had one of
I've
those?
seen those. Are those good? I've seen them, but I never
Yes.
tried it out.
Yes.
You like it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So yes. So the combination of the chewy, sweet, and chocolatey is it's there. There's something there. You as a sweet tooth guy, I think you'd be into it.
Oh yeah, don't tempt me with a good time. I'll
Yeah.
definitely I'll
Yeah.
give them a go.
Yeah.
I actually see them tomorrow whenever I go to work and I get my food for work. So
Perfect.
I might just,
Just throw
grab a bag then.
chocolate covered gummy bears for that
I
too.
will. Yeah, I think I'm like. Here's the thing, and also like as much as I'm a sweet tooth guy, cotton candy is just too sweet. I think as I've gotten older,
Very.
I'm starting to verge into that it's too sweet category
Yeah.
on some
Yeah.
stuff. And this feels like it would just be so sugary, I wouldn't even.
Yeah, my teeth hurt
enjoy
just
it,
thinking
what I mean?
about it. Yeah.
Yeah. While I'm not a big horseradish guy, I mean, you can never go wrong with good. I mean, a waffle fry
fries.
boat.
Yeah.
Throw me a waffle fry boat in there.
Cheese and sausage and waffle fries? Sign me up.
Waffle fry.
For free.
Shout out to the people that are our age and up, because any of you young kids won't get that one. So we got our 3 spot. We've got our boomstick burrito at Globe Life Field. As far as construction goes, the boomstick burrito is a straightforward and crowd-pleasing mix of ingredients. The Mexican-inspired style, it's made with rice, beans, and spiced taco meat, pico de gallo, lettuce, sour cream, and Rico's brand nacho cheese. What makes the boomstick extraordinary is the size. All these elements to fill an absolute capacity of a 26-inch wide tortilla. Of course, it's from Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas. My ward.
Happy Cinco de Mayo to
that-
us.
I know, right? Yeah, happy Cinco de Mayo, everybody. And then it's going up against the loaded big pretzel from Lambeau Field. The dish sold by Johnsonville Sausage Company at its tailgate village begins with a Bavarian-styled baked soft pretzel stretched about a foot across, and then it gets absolutely painted with a thick sauce with sharp cheddar cheese, which holds in place the crumbles and chunks of bratwurst sausage and strands and clumps of fried sauerkraut. Just in case that's not enough salty flavor, the loaded big pretzel comes equipped with cups of beer mustard and beer cheese and mustard sauce.
Yeah,
don't
you
like
lost me
sauerkraut.
you lost me at the kraut.
Yeah,
I
you're not
can
a fan.
tolerate it, and I understand the role of the kraut in a bratwurst, but the burrito, the boomstick burrito, takes this one for sure.
Yeah, I think if you have to go with everything that is ingredients wise and you can't substitute
Yep.
anything out, I think without
Yep.
the sauerkraut, that was running away with it for me.
They had us in the first half
Sauerkraut came in.
for sure. Yeah.
They had us in the first half, exactly right. So yeah, we'll go with the burrito, and then our last matchup, the pizza burger at AT&T Stadium. The pizza burger requires 2 pizzas, personal size pepperoni and cheese pizzas served as a bun in a sandwich. Good God. Along with the standard burger condiments like leaves of lettuce and slices of tomato comes in an Angus beef patty weighing a whopping full pound before cooking traditional pizza ingredients like marinara sauce and mozzarella cheese melt all over that giant piece of beef underneath the second mini pizza. You know how whenever like foreigners come here and they're just like, I can't believe these Yanks do this? That's
Pizza burger, $100
Pizza
taco,
burgers, probably one of the things
$100
that
hot
they're
dog
talking about on
covered in edible gold leaf.
Yeah, I think that's one. Oh boy, and that one is going up against the s'mores quesadilla at Dia.
No, you
Citizens
stick with
Bank
that.
Park.
You stick with that.
Stick with the Dilla. I think we've as a college kid ordering through so many fast food taco places and saying it ironically. It's just ingrained in my brain.
Yes.
But the one vendor at Citizen Park that makes the concession uses a regular flow, a flour tortilla, which packs with hazelnut and chocolate Nutella spread, mini marshmallows, and broken up graham crackers. It's all heated until crispy on the outside and hot and melty in the middle, then drizzled with chocolate sauce and served alongside more chocolate for dipping quesadilla triangles. Give it the title. That one.
Dude.
Yes.
That's going to be a hard one to beat. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I don't, to me right now, I can't think of another one that I've read so far that, like I said, me with the sweet tooth. So we have the Renegade Dog. You really like the Renegade Dog from the start. We have, let's see, we have 3. We have that.
The waffle boat.
We have the boomstick burrito that kind of won on, the maybe the technicality on it. And then, yes, the waffle fry boat. Waffle bar boats up high up there.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not big on the horseradish, so that brought it down for me. To me, it's probably between the Renegade Dog and that.
And the s'mores quesadilla. Yeah.
Man. So again, the Renegade Dog, it's a foot-long hot dog with the frank stretching out past both sides of the bun onto the sausage, and the bun concession workers toss a heaping globs of moist shredded beef pot roast alongside a bunch of pickle slices and plenty of caramelized onions. And then it comes to the star of the show, the potato-filled miniature pierogies.
Does the Renegade Dog have any cheese on it?
It does not look like it. And
it's got to be the s'mores quesadilla then. It's got to be the s'mores quesadilla. Yep.
The s'mores quesadilla, which I'm so glad that we don't have to fight on this one. Yeah. Especially once it becomes like wintertime, City Park needs to get some of those hot, melty and stuff when you're in the winter. Oh, yeah. Get you a nice, like the kids are doing with the mozzarella sticks from Applebee's, the cheese pull. Get you a nice marshmallow pull out of that one.
Yeah, yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
my son's big into cheese pulls. Yeah.
Oh, nice. So that's our Cadlex Combat, and then I posed the question to you as far as like, any sort of like sports. You said the Grand Prix where they have that. What was it? Hot dog that you said $150 something or something like that.
That was that. Yeah, the Grand Prix. Yeah.
Is there anything like outside of those or outside, something that you've heard of that just is so hyped up in? So mine, I believe it's the Masters, or no, maybe it's the.
No, it's the Masters. Are you thinking of the pimento? The pimento cheese sandwich.
I'm curious about like those types of
things. Yeah.
It's the it's actually Wimbledon, I believe. Those strawberries and cream that they always talk about.
Oh yeah.
They say there's like a mile long. It seems something so simple, but yet like the pimento cheese thing. It seems something so simple, but yet everybody's like, you got even if the line's that long, you gotta get it there.
Yeah.
And that just intrigues me on that. Like.
Yeah. The sushi in Seattle, that's intriguing to me. Yeah, that's a good one.
Are we talking Manners or are we talking?
Yeah, I think it was the Mariners. DH used to talk about it. I think it was at the old Safeco Field. Maybe
Isn't
it was.
Where the fish market is, like the famous fish market.
Yeah, Seattle, it could be. I can't remember exactly, but yeah, that was always intriguing. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you brought to light the Cadillac Combat thing. Brought a lot of things to light that are intriguing for me now. Like,
one I never got that I always wish I would have got is the Krispy Kreme burger that the Grizzlies had.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you just have to make one yourself now.
Yeah, boy, I'm gonna have a fun weekend of just chocolate covered gummy bears and
Krispy Kreme burgers and s'mores quesadillas. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Every week I'm like, I'm gonna get my act together, especially with the beach coming up and all that. And then I'm just pulled back in by all these great.
I gotta try the s'mores quesadilla, babe.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Oh, what a bummer. We have all those ingredients upstairs right now. It would be a shame if rather than edit this episode.
I'm surprised that it goes with a regular tortilla and not something more, maybe like a crepe. Something a little sweeter.
Yeah, it's like a crepe, or where was it they used to have those cinnamon sugar like tortilla chips?
Taco Bell. The Cinnamon Twist? Yeah.
Yeah, but you treat that almost like on the full tortilla.
Well, so you could do You could do, you know, a sopapilla is a deep fried tortilla with cinnamon and sugar sprinkled on it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, yeah, you just do
Yeah.
that. Yeah. And we're done.
Get
Yes.
that
We're
in
done.
there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Make it. Print it, cut, print,
Yes.
eat. Yes.
Yes. Just like we're going to cut, print, and move on as we
And
wrap
eat.
up this
Yeah.
episode.
And eat.
Yes.
Yes.
And eat, probably. Yeah. Thank you guys again for all those submissions. They're always a lot of fun to answer, except for the fact that we're just constantly hungry when we end this episode, and that's not good because we usually end these later. But thank you again for sending those in to all our socials. Again, you can send them in. You don't have to wait till we do the prompt. You can send them in anytime to any of our socials, and we'll try and make sure we screen grab them to read on the episodes. But we appreciate doing it, as well as we appreciate it if you would follow us on our socials. On Instagram, we're South End Supporters. Our Twitter and our Reddit is _SES_podcast STL. Make sure you're also following us on our Facebook as well as our YouTube page, and that way you can keep up with all things South End Supporters. So, for myself, Eric Cole, for the Monday Morning Center back, Dave Wyckoff, you've been listening to South End Supporters. And until next week, let's go City.